This might just be one of the weirdest tactics that we've tested in FM23. That's right everyone, we're back to test another Knap tactic. This one has an incredibly strange shape but actually does really well in the in-game engine, probably better than you might expect. So we're going to take a look at that in a second, but if you do enjoy the video, smash the like button for us, comment down below if there's any tactics you want to see tested next, and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that being said, let's go take a look at some of the results that this tactic got us. So we tested this tactic with 3 different teams. One, a team in non-league that you'll see later, one of the best teams in the Premier League in Manchester City, who we'll talk about in a little bit, but arguably the most impressive result came for Southampton. Predicted relegation in the Prem, they actually ended up getting a Champions League spot on 64 points. It genuinely happened first time, which I was very surprised to see. Yes, it was only by 1 point over Aston Villa, but we got a Champions League spot with Southampton in a tactic that you'd assume wouldn't really suit them. Let's take a look at some of the stats that this tactic has generated. If we go to the data hub, we can see it's scoring 2.13 goals per game, and it's got a non-penalty expected goals of over 2, which is very impressive for a team like Southampton. We're conceding 1.63 goals per game, which isn't the world's best, but this tactic certainly isn't aimed at being a defensive one. It's all about the attack. Once you see the shape of it later, you'll see exactly what we mean. But when it comes to scoring goals, you can see that's where this tactic really excels. It's not the most possession-based tactic. We're not winning loads of tackles, but we have had a great season with Southampton. I mentioned this is good at getting goals, and some of the key stats prove that, with 81 goals for our Southampton team, as we knew, over 2 goals a game. Man City have smashed it, but for a team like Southampton to be in this top spot over the likes of so many great Premier League teams, and it's not easy to score in the Premier League, it shows you just how strong this tactic is when it comes to scoring goals. And if we look at the player overview, you'll see Che Adams has got 30 goals. He's won the Golden Boot in the Premier League this year. You can see this tactic focuses on trying to break the opponent's lines. Che Adams here with way more offsides than anybody else. We're playing right on the edge in the hopes of creating a big chance for one of our forward players, which there's plenty of, by the way. Man City ended up topping the league with 98 points. Not a crazy amount of points for City, but it is a solid league win. This tactic doesn't actually use a striker, which is why you're not seeing Haaland anywhere, and it is why we kind of look like we're underperforming compared to normal Manchester City results. 3.63 goals per game is exceptional. Scoring goals for fun and creating more shots than pretty much anybody in the league, and we have just dominated across all areas, as you would expect with City. But I did mention that we tested this tactic in non-league as well. Now do stick with us, because I'll show you some highlights in-game of the tactic after I show you what the tactic looks like. But to quickly wrap up our results, we did a tactic test with Dorking, who weren't expected to be anywhere near this top half of the Vanarama National League, but we've ended up getting promoted, beating the likes of Wrexham and Oldham to that promotion place, and actually being pretty close to Notts County, who are exceptional in this year's Football Manager. 30 wins, and some of them, as you can see, were really dominating wins. We ended up going to the playoff final, where we beat Oldham 3-1 to go up. Once again, dominating the league when it comes to goals per game, and also the amount of shots created. Again, it's not a possession tactic, or one that's looking to always win the ball back every single time, but the attacks that you get when you're using this tactic are so fun to watch. Our Dorking side was one of the best in the league in terms of scoring goals, 114 goals in 48 matches, 10 of them from corners, so we still scored 104 goals without even having the set piece tactic. And whilst we don't have an out-and-out top goal scorer who's scoring loads of goals for us, you can see the assists have been shared around the team, with Bobby Joe Taylor, Ryan Seeger and Josh Taylor getting plenty of assists for our side. Over 40 assists combined just between those 3 shows how much it gets the best out of your attacking players. And with that being said, let's take a look at this tactic and break it down. And when I say it's an interesting shape, it's definitely an interesting shape. There is no striker, as mentioned earlier. There's hardly even a midfield, if you want to call it that. I think this would be described as a 4-1-5. We've got a defensive midfielder in front of a back 4, and then everybody else is in these attacking positions. But let's break down the tactic. We'll start off with the player instructions and the role. We've got a sweeper keeper on the support duty, a wing back on support with shoot less often, and we've also got that on the left wing back on support. 2 ball playing defenders on the defence duty who look to dribble more, shoot less often and stay wider. We've got the same for both. And then we've got a defensive midfielder on support with no additional instructions. 2 inside forwards on the support duty, asked to shoot less often and sit narrower. That's the same on both sides. 2 attacking midfielders on the attack with no additional instructions, and a shadow striker who's been told not to shoot, basically. Now that might look like no one here is going to score goals, but as we saw, this tactic scored plenty. We're asking most of our attacking players not to shoot, but when they get the chances, they absolutely kill it. Before we break down the team instructions, just to let you know, if you want this tactic, you can find it linked in the description down below. Click that link, go through, and you'll be able able to download the tactic and plug it into your save straight away. This is the Mad as a Hatter Knap 4150. One of the most fun tactics he's created and tested with this year for sure, but the mentality, as you might have guessed, is attacking. In possession, we've got a fairly wide width, we're passing it into the space, overlapping on the left and the right, and focusing the play down either flank. We've got some low crosses as we work the ball into the box, shorter passing directness, and extremely high tempo. In transition, we are looking to counter press when we've lost the ball, and when we win it back, we are looking to counter straight away, distributing to the fullbacks, and throwing it long when it comes to our goalkeeper. Out of possession, it's a much lower defensive line and a high press line of engagement, so our lines are quite heavily split. But of course, if you guys want to adjust any of these things, feel free to. As I mentioned, we did concede a lot of goals with this tactic. If you want to shore it up a little bit, feel free to do so. But we're just testing it here as Knap has created it. We're looking to trigger the press much more often and prevent the goalkeeper from distributing. And we're looking to get stuck in as well. If you don't want as many yellow cards, feel free to take that off. But there is our tactic. Let's move on to the set pieces. If you download the tactic, you'll get this automatically. But just in case anyone wants to see, we are playing some far post corners, and this is how our team is set up, with our best header of the ball attacking that far post. And on the right, it's slightly different. We've got someone coming short, aiming the ball towards the near post and hoping to score from there. Now, it should be noted, I picked 3 random teams here. There's certainly better teams suited to this. Someone like Southampton clearly had some decent shadow strikers in Shea Adams and Joe Aribo who've helped him get goals, Dorking as well. But with Man City, maybe it isn't the best tactic for them because it does reduce the impact that someone like Erling Haaland's going to have. So this tactic won't be perfect for everyone, but if you think you can build a team to suit it, or you have a team that suits it already, this could be great for you. If you're lacking that striker but have a lot of creative talent in that midfield, this could do you wonders. Here's some of our results for anyone that's wondering. We started off winning most of our games by a pretty big margin. We're conceding quite often, but we are scoring plenty of goals. We ended up scoring so many goals, in fact, that we got to the FA Cup third round, losing to Millwall, which is certainly not a bad result. And of course, as mentioned with Dorking, we ended up winning the playoff final in a match against Oldham 3-1. So let's take a look at that. We actually went 1-0 down and scored 3 goals in the space of 5 minutes. So let's take a look at these goals. Maybe they'll all be corner goals, I'm not sure, but hopefully we'll see a good representation of the tactic in game. Good possession and lots of chances created. The first one will be the Oldham goal. Is it any flaw in our tactic that's caused this? I'm not too sure. I feel like we've just been caught out there, and it's a very easy chance. Obviously, in non-league, we're not going to be playing with the highest calibre of players, but these guys seem to have got the job done here. Here you go. You can see there isn't really a striker naturally in this side, so everyone's getting forward almost to fill the space. We've got about 5 options who could have scored there. I'm counting, what's that, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in the box, potentially 8 towards the end. Everyone getting forward to help the team out. Here's our second goal, winning the ball back, a long ball over the top. McShane brings it down and he scores to give Dorking the lead and send us into the 4th division of English football. Here comes the third goal. Look how many players we've got forward there. So many players up front, but the defenders don't know who to occupy. It's another long ball over the top. Rutherford shoots. Poor goalkeeping for sure, but we'll certainly take it. And that just shows you some of the goals that this tactic scores. Let's watch one more game whilst we're at it. We played Torquay here, where we dominated possession, created loads of chances, and ended up banging in 5 goals. So let's check them out. A lot of them coming later on. I think a lot of what's happening here is just pure confusion from the AI defences, not knowing who to pick up when there's no real striker. Again, great football, just playing the balls in behind, seems to be doing the damage for us. If you've got quick inside forwards, they could be really dangerous. Here's our corner tactic though, coming into play. It's Cook scoring from close range there to give us a 2-0 advantage in the 70th. Here comes Torquay's goal though, as they go forward to make it 2-1. Any flaw in the tactic or just a decent goal? Looks like we've been caught out at back post, a deflection, and it goes in, so I'm not really going to count that. We did give him a bit too much space to cross, but I'm not too sure that's down to the tactic. And here we go, Fuller at right back. He plays it into Briggs. Again, I've got 5 players on my radar there in the box for us. Any of them could have scored. It shows you how attacking this tactic is when there's so many options who could get a goal. And the defensive midfielder is sitting back just watching over his defence, whilst literally everybody else is in here trying to score goals. I mean, that's an absolute calamity. I have no idea what that is. Nothing to do with the tactic, that is. That's just broken Football Manager, because that is one of the strangest goals you'll ever see. And then I believe this is goal number 5 now. Seeger in the right mid spot, brings it down well. Again, 5 people on the screen, all 5 attackers getting into dangerous positions. If you're looking to score goals and you've got plenty of attacking options, but maybe you're lacking a striker, this tactic could be the one for you. Some great results across 3 very different teams. One of the most interesting shapes to play with as well. If you're looking to try something new, then definitely give this one a go. If you have enjoyed watching, feel free to smash the like button, comment down below what tactic you'd like to see next, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and goodbye.